Good morning and welcome to Daybreak as we're streaming here on WGRZ Plus through 9:30 this morning. And we're beginning with some breaking news from the city of Buffalo. Take a look at this video of the area of Linwood Avenue. Several firefighters were on the scene just now trying to put out a fire at a home that's currently being remodeled. The response was so large that part of Linwood had to be blocked off. Firefighters at the scene tell 2 on your side there were 2 people inside, but they were not hurt in that fire. But officials tell 2 on your side the fire started in the attic and likely caused about $250,000 in damages. And now to the story that all of Buffalo and all of the hockey world, frankly, is talking about this morning. For the first time in 15 years, playoff hockey is reaching a fever pitch in the city of Buffalo. The Sabres coming off an epic come-from-behind victory against the Bruins. They were down 2-0 late in the third before they really turned things on and scored 4 goals in 6 minutes and 46 seconds. Our Rob Hackford will have more on the highlights from the game and reaction from players and Coach Lindy Ruff coming up in just a few minutes right here on Daybreak, so stay tuned for that. Switching gears now, investigators are still trying to figure out what caused a house fire in Cheektowaga over the weekend. This was seen yesterday afternoon around 2 p.m. on Kennard Avenue near Winston. The Ucrest fire chief tells us the fire started in the garage and then spread to the home. Crews were able to get it under control and no one was hurt. And in Niagara Falls, crews were dealing with a partial building collapse Saturday night. This was the scene around 9:30 on Fall Street near 24th Street. You can see one side of the building appears to be coming off. We've reached out to Niagara Falls Police for more details. Buffalo Police released new body cam footage from an officer-involved shooting of an armed robbery suspect at a 7-Eleven on the city's west side. We're about to show you some of that video, but we do want to warn you some viewers might find it disturbing.
These officers were not expecting to be walking into an armed robbery.
New video from Buffalo Police show the moments 2 on-duty officers stumbled onto an armed robbery. Video from surveillance cameras inside of a 7-Eleven show the man in a black hoodie identified as 42-year-old DeJuan Williams at the counter. And seconds later, you can see the cashier put his hands up before he is shot in the upper leg area. Acting Buffalo Police Commissioner Craig Macy says Williams was demanding cash and other items.
He still is in his fixed position after he shoots the clerk because he still wants his items.
A few moments later, another in-store video angle shows the 2 officers approach the door. And this is a point of view from one of the Buffalo police officers. Williams is pointing a gun at the cashier, and that's when Williams notices them too. He opens the door and shoots at the officer. Then in body camera footage, you can hear commands from the officer to drop the gun.
Put the gun down! He's shooting! Radio stop!
Footage from the second officer on duty shows the moments after that shot is fired by Williams. Buffalo police confirm that the officer, who has only been on the streets for about 4 months, shoots twice at the suspect. One bullet hitting his gun, the other his arm. That's when a foot chase ensues. And in the video, you can hear an officer say the suspect is carjacking someone.
He's getting into a car! He's getting into a car! The guy's bailing out!
That's when Buffalo police tell us the suspect drives that stolen car until he crashes into 3 unoccupied cars. Commissioner Macy says the use of force by officers is justified.
Whenever there is a person that is posing a threat to life, whether it's the officers or a civilian, officers have the ability to use lethal force. In this case, the subject is armed with a firearm. He shoots somebody and then points that firearm at the police, so that's absolutely justified.
On your side in Buffalo, Alyssa Clausel, Channel 2 News.
Another news this morning, local firefighters got some high-intensity training on how to save one of their own. The Gettsville Fire Company hosted its annual Rapid Intervention Training course. The 2-day program features practice on rescuing firefighters in emergency situations so they'll know what to do if and when a mayday call comes in.
This is specialized training that allows us to not only protect other firefighters, but ourselves. There are self-rescue techniques being taught. There is specialized cutting, specialized rope rescue, things that firefighters should know to take care of their own, but it's not required.
And those drills are based on real-life incidents that have led to firefighter deaths, including fire development, search and rescue, collapse operations, and emergency air procedures. Well, heads up for drivers around Chautauqua Lake. The state DOT says Interstate 86 bridge over Chautauqua Lake will be closed overnight tonight into tomorrow morning for rehabilitation work. The closure affects both directions of the bridge between North Harmony and Ellery from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Drivers will be detoured onto State Route 394 and State Route 430 during that work. The bowling fundraiser rolled through Tonawanda yesterday to support cancer research. Team Roswell Rollers hosted their 6th annual event at Tonawanda Bowling Center, raising money for the upcoming Ride for Roswell. The event included family bowling sessions, raffle baskets, and a special 57-frame memorial game.
There's a whole explanation for the reasoning of the number 57. It's very meaningful. It honors one of our team members who unfortunately lost her battle to ovarian cancer. So they're all bowling 57 frames. Their arm's going to be sore. I'm actually doing half of it later as soon as I'm done with this.
And the team hopes to raise about $20,000 to support patient care and research at Roswell Park. And that ride coming up in June, so you'll be seeing lots of the lawn signs out and lots of friends around Western New York. Patrick will be asking for donations for the Ride for Roswell. Patrick, are you in here?
Yeah.
It's your turn.
Oh, sorry.
This is where you come on and talk about the forecast.
Well, sorry. I got caught up into something.
Not that any of us really want to hear a forecast where it's 30 degrees on April 20th, but the weather is looking up this week and drying out, which we all really want because the ground is so soggy right now.
Well, funny you should bring that up. That's kind of what I was looking at. This is a look. First of all, that's a beautiful shot. And by the way, look at the ice is gone. The boom was taken out last week, and now the ice has floated down, and the lake is up to 46 degrees. Okay, Melissa brought up all the rain. It's true. We've had 200% of normal rain in the months of March and April. The meteorological date of the first day of spring is March 1st. The rain since then, 10.1 inches of rain. We should be at 5.05, so we're at exactly double the amount of rain we should have so far in the spring months, the 19th of April dating back to the 1st of March. So pretty crazy. So it's nice to get a little bit of a break in the rain. We will see that this week pretty much. Notice today a mix of clouds and sun, perhaps a little snow shower. Tonight, cold. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, in fact, high clouds. And we'll see those increase. Temperatures, though, will be in the 50s and a dry week with just a small shower chance Tuesday overnight is what we're thinking. So dry weather this week. There are the snow showers from Ashford to Delavan, Yorkshire, Machias. I know Kevin talked about this last week, but it's still just so noteworthy that we had that very small tornado. There was in fact two, one in Farmersville and one in Machias, a mile and a half away from the tornado that occurred at the very end of March this season. Think about that. You've had two tornadoes in the state of New York, and they've both been within a mile and a half of each other and separated by just a couple weeks. Crazy. Anyway, now that same area is getting some light snow that is falling across parts of Chautauqua and Cattaraugus, or mainly Cattaraugus County. A couple of snow showers are possible midday. Lots of clouds, it looks like, that will thin later on today into tonight. Tomorrow will be a day that starts off with sun, but will increase the high clouds. It'll be dry. Temperatures tomorrow into the 50s as opposed to the 30s today. And then as we head towards Wednesday, we'll see more in the way of sunshine and temperatures getting closer into the 60s. Okay, so for today, upper 30s, around 40 degrees. Tonight, down into the 20s to around 30. And then for tomorrow, a day that will be warmer, will be in the 50s. And if you are getting ready to hit the Sabres game 2 against the Bruins, the weather looks a lot better than it did yesterday. It'll be warmer with temperatures, though still cool. We're going to be in the 40s as we head towards puck drop, which is at, why do they do it? Yesterday, puck drop was at 7:42. Why is that? Why not round it? Isn't that weird?
Well, yeah.
Why
I mean,
7:42?
They say that it's 7:30, but that's when the game air, like where the coverage begins, and then the, the national anthem. I don't know.
I mean,
was it a problem?
No, it was not a problem, and it wasn't that it just happened to be 7:42. It was advertised as 7:42. That's just bizarre. Why not say 7:40?
Well, we kept saying it was 7:30.
No, I'm driving in, listening to the radio all morning and all afternoon. Puck drop tonight at 7:42. That's what they were advertising.
Who's they?
Just all the ESPN sports radio. I mean, I was on a long drive, so I was flipping, listening, and first puck was in tonight. Get ready for Sabres. First puck drops at 7:42. Okay.
All right. Well,
when you're driving with everybody else in the car sound asleep, okay, and you are by yourself with your thoughts, okay, these are the things that concern you. Puck drop times at odd times. All right, that was my situation yesterday. 50s. Today, a mix of sun and clouds, snow shower. Tonight, clear skies down to 28. And then for tomorrow, increasing clouds, 53. Long range forecast, near 60 on Wednesday, upper 60s on Thursday, Friday close to 70. And it looks like there will be some showers potentially on Saturday this weekend.
And then getting cold again, huh?
Next week, it does look like it will be chilly. The cold arrives at 6:49.
Are you sure about
Similar to the puck drop for
Okay.
Game 7.
All right. Well, that's annoying. All right, Patrick, thank you. And we will talk Sabres coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. It is 9:14 on Daybreak, and we are going to be talking about the Sabres for a long time now. This is a marathon, not a sprint, but what a way to get out of the gate yesterday with just this remarkable, miraculous comeback. Rob, thanks for joining us here to talk about what the players are saying, what Coach Lindy Ruff is saying, what fans are saying this morning after this 4-3 victory over the Bruins in Game 1.
Yeah, and this is really something we've seen all season. This has been a come-from-behind team. This third period, as much as it was nerve-wracking, you kind of had a little bit of confidence. And we heard that from the players as well after the game. They were saying that despite their nerves, despite this being the first playoff game for a lot of them, they just continued to keep going. And they appreciated the fans kept cheering them on as well. And it was just a ballistic and incredible atmosphere down at Canal Side.
This is so funny. I love this video.
Just crazy stuff.
The fact that you think they're going to rush, right? No.
Let's tidy up. Let's pick up.
Pick it up.
There we go.
We're not going anywhere.
Good job, Sabres fans.
Sorry about that. We're fine. Sorry.
With the snow falling and shirtless 20-year-olds, what an atmosphere.
Yeah, picturesque stuff here, and only the second time in Sabres playoff history that they've had this come-from-behind win in the third period of 2 goals or more. So the last time this happened was in April 24th, 1993, the May Day goal. So we have another memorable game to look back on now. And hearing from the squad after the game, they just said their confidence didn't waver despite the tough odds.
We've been so comfortable for the last 40-50 games with our own game. We know it works, so it's easier to stick with it. It's you know it's going to pay off at some point. We have showed it during the year already, and it's a good spot when you don't have to go to the playoffs and change things. I feel like the confidence is there. We know how we had to play to give ourselves chance to win every night.
After a game like that, how much do you feel like the whole playoff experience thing kind of goes out the window?
Yeah, well, I told him right after the game, you want experience, you got it now. I mean, what an experience. I mean, if you're going to say this was my first playoff game, you've got a great story to tell.
Yeah, and I couldn't help but think that applies to both the players and the fans. So many of us haven't been able to see the Sabres in the playoffs as adults or at all. But Ruff said after the game, the Sabres bench was really what kept everyone motivated. They got that go-ahead goal from Mattias Samuelsson. But before that, the 2 goals from Thompson, they wanted more and kept fighting and kept fighting. Darlene saying that they couldn't hear themselves. UPL saying the Place was rocking, the roof was blowing off, just crazy stuff.
I feel like yesterday's game is a microcosm of the entire season.
Yeah.
So from being in last place December 13th and then building, and then just skyrocketing the last part of the season, that's how yesterday's game was. They were, no goals.
No goals, but I didn't feel like they started in last place. They were fighting. They just weren't getting.
Second period, we were all over them.
We were all over them.
Boston
And
looked
they had,
tired. That
they
was
had
the thing.
double the shots on goal, but no really good chances. And they almost, to me, looked a little jittery. Like they were falling over themselves. They weren't connecting it with passes. It looked like they were just being a little sloppy, a little
They just
careless.
needed to meld.
Just kind of get in their groove. And then once they did, it was just remarkable to watch. And
lights out.
Well, to think about it, like if you're in a performance, like a play or a musical, the first time you hit the stage, you're kind of nervous, right? Sure. Until you get into your groove.
By
and
the
you're like,
Sunday
okay,
matinee,
the Sunday
you're
matinee,
rolling.
you're on all cylinders. So you kind of got that crowd. I gotta believe they were a little jittery when they got out there, right?
Yeah,
Not too like, oh my.
But
I had some bubbles in my stomach. Being down at Canal Side, it was awesome.
That is cool.
To see everyone.
That is so cool.
the party in the plaza before, and then that crowd at Canal Side, and this, I believe that it's going to be happening for every
home game.
Every home game. I don't know what the away game plans are, because I'm sure that bars and restaurants will want folks to come and watch.
And how many Bruins fans were there last night? 2, maybe 3.
Well,
will their meaning the Sabres fans did not sell their tickets. It was clearly or if they did, they sold them to other Sabres fans.
I hope so.
Let's
I
hope.
heard mass amounts of booing at least 5 times as Bruin fans walked by. So there were at least 5 Bruins.
There were 5.
Fans. I can tell you.
But I wonder if there are any tickets available in Boston. Just curious.
I'll have to check that.
Yeah.
I checked Ticketmaster this morning for Game 2 and Game 5. And Game 2 tickets, you cannot buy a ticket at KeyBank Center this morning for less than $400 on Ticketmaster. That's the worst seats in the house. You're going to pay for $400. Then for Game 5, you'll pay around $350, $375 for 300 level tickets. Of course, if there is no Game 5, fingers crossed, you get your money back.
Yeah.
So, and then Game 7 is also around $350, and hopefully there won't be a Game 7, but $350 for a Game 7 I think is worth it, more so than $350 for a
Hockey
Game 7.
playoffs there are 4 rounds of 7 games, but they could have the winner of the Stanley Cup may have
yesterday.
28 more games.
It's an 82-game season.
It's crazy.
But potentially beyond 30 games just to get to the
I was
finals.
talking to Pete Gallivan was like, sometimes it's just the last team standing is the team that makes it, because everybody else, there's injuries or they're just flat out exhausted.
And look, Sam Carrick, hopefully we'll get him back. Alex Lyon, we want him back. Noah Ostlund, we want him back. If those 3 come back,
right?
Don't jinx us.
I know. Just really, really exciting and also emotional. I saw just all the videos that I watched that the Sabres posted. If you haven't seen it yet, go on to Sabres social media to see the Better Days music video, which they did play. But I'm so glad that they played it for all of the fans to see when they watched MSG last night. But it's also on social media. I was sobbing during that. And then you had Mrs. Sandra Jennerette, come out and bang the drum to get Sabres fans going before the game. And just a lot of emotion. Sitting there with Elliot on the couch, sitting there with him as he's watching his very first Sabres game ever, Sabres playoff game ever, was just one to, notch in the memory books.
Yeah, William sat on the other couch, because when you're 17, it's not cool to sit next to Dad. But we had a similar experience where it was cool to kind of have that shared moment. And now I don't have the history that you do with the Sabres, but even for a newcomer, it was kind of cool. Very cool.
Yeah. What about you, Rob? What'd you do?
Well, I watched the game. We were down at Canal Side for a little bit, went to a bar around the second period, and then got home. I was pretty tired after being up since 3 a.m.
Yeah, for Daybreak.
Oh,
and
that's right.
then I had the radio broadcast on my phone rolling while I was in bed, and I fell asleep. It was 2-0 Boston. And I woke up and was like, what's happening? Oh my gosh.
I was listening. I was watching and listening on my phone, and then I'm like, it was 2-0, and I was
no
like,
recollection.
And then I heard my son make like a shout in the background, like an hour later, And I was like, was he playing with the dogs, or was that like a shout because something happened with the Sabres game? But I waited in the morning to wait. Yeah. I wanted that suspense.
I had a woohoo text from Mom, a recap text from my wife, another text from former photographer Brad saying we're going all the way.
Yeah.
And various other text messages.
That's motherly love when you get a woohoo.
A woohoo text, yeah.
So, it's good
well, what a way to kick things off. Can you imagine what we would be feeling like today if it was a loss and and if they were shut out and
if they were
waited
this
long to get to the playoffs, and then that is the first game, the first playoff experience is a shutout.
If it was a shutout,
you think some cushion, you know?
But you may not score a goal on this goalie ever. He looked so good. This Swayman, I loved how they chanted Swayman. That was fun.
Apparently he really hates it, and that's one of the reasons why they did it over and over. And it's also kind of a reflection of what they do in the Bandits, because the Sabres fans will always chant the last name of the opposing goalie in the Bandits game. But hearing again the ooh, ah, Sabres on the warpath, that was a very old chant from like the good old days. And you could hear the fans saying ooh, ah, from watching at home. And that was fun to see like the old vintage chants coming back.
We had it going on the train, going down the Metro Rail.
Nice.
It was great. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, they've added extra Metro Rail trains, by the way, for every home game. So that
4 instead of 3.
Yeah.
So extra space. You can spread out a little
bit. Good way to get downtown if you're thinking about going down there for the game or just for all the festivities at Canal Side. So let's do it again tomorrow, shall we? Game 2, 7:30 or 7:42.
7:42. Did you hear that when you were listening on the radio before the game? They kept announcing the puck drop.
No.
Was it 7:42? It doesn't matter. I don't know. It was just.
It annoyed Patrick.
Turn the TV on at 7:30.
There you go. There you go.
All right. We'll be back after this with much more Daybreak. Stay with us. A lot of national love for the Sabres, too, and national surprise about the Sabres. That's where this next story comes from. What's his name? Wyatt. What is his name?
Dave Portnoy?
Wyatt Russell.
Oh, Wyatt. Oh, yeah. Oh,
yes.
Okay, so Kurt Russell, his father, Bing Russell, was a famous actor. Then Kurt Russell is Kurt Russell, and this is his son.
His son, Wyatt Russell,
who's an
who's
actor
also an actor, hockey player, podcaster. Early on in the season, had a bold prediction saying, if the Sabres make it into the playoffs, I will drink a beer that he promotes and run into Lake Erie. Well, he had to make good on his bet, didn't he? Take a look.
Well, Wyatt, you made the claim that if the Buffalo Sabres could end their drought and make the playoffs, you'd chug a lake hour and run into the freezing waters of Lake Erie. Well, they did. And you did. So all I gotta say is, let's go Buffalo!
Love hearing that from Kurt Russell, sending his son Wyatt some words of encouragement over the weekend right before he honored the promise that he made back in November. The actor, again, said he would jump into Lake Erie if the Sabres made the playoffs, and he did just that, surrounded by fans at Woodlawn Beach.
We're just trying to have as much fun as we can with the Sabres this weekend, and it's the greatest sports town in America as far as I'm concerned. I'm from Colorado and LA, so sorry guys, you got nothing on Buffalo.
Now, all of those fans were with him because he talked on the podcast about doing this and told everyone where and when to meet. He also had beautiful things to say about our city and about how the fans are so loyal and the city is so unpretentious and the team has so much grit. So if you log on to social media, you can look up what Wyatt Russell has to say about Buffalo, and it kind of gives you chills. It's like, yes, everyone is finally coming to see why we are a great hockey town and sports town.
It was cool. But so that was Lake Erie water he chugged.
No, I think he poured his beer.
Was that because it's called Lake?
I don't think he would be doing so well if he was chugging Lake Erie water.
That's what I thought.
Yes, but Lake Hour is
Lake Hour is
and so
okay.
I think that he is chugging those beer sabers, man. Someone actually tracked when the beer sabers were first introduced in the arena this season. That's when the team started getting good. Now, obviously, it probably doesn't have anything to do with one another, but
does it have to do with the new GM? No. Does it have to do with Darlene coming back? No.
Do you know those beer sabers also are being sold on eBay right now for hundreds of dollars?
Okay, wow.
Because people want them so badly, and you can't buy them unless you actually go to a game and buy them in stadium.
Gotcha.
Finally, a little bit of fun. We call this One Buffalo, where the Sabres and the Bills support each other. This is the Bills O-line on the Zamboni, just having so much fun, shirtless like so many other fans, waving the rally towels around. This was Sportsnet on X that posted this. So just a lot of fun to see. The Bills having so much fun as they're here in Orchard Park right now for the off-season workouts. And yeah. So
you can see McGovern, you can see Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, Khalil Shakir.
And then what's his name? I always forget his name. He's on the offensive.
Spencer Brown.
Spencer Brown. I think that was him.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good to see when we shall be trying to spot other celebrities at the game tomorrow night.
We would be talking about something we're not talking about very much if this was a normal year, and that's the draft.
Right.
We're not even like...
And we are expected to hear from Brandon Beane and Joe Brady later today to talk about the Bills pick, which is number 26.
Which is a big story, but we're kind of
on Thursday is when the draft starts. And normally we are doing mock drafts and breaking down all the potential picks, because that's all of our sports team had to do here was talk about Bills stuff. And now it's really fun that the Sabres are our number one story and will be hopefully for some time as we continue on with the playoffs. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.